It certainly have been exciting times since the announcement of the next installment of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 aims to be a more advanced and polished simulator than its revolutionising predecessor, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Now some of the dust has settled after the announcement, we're starting to see some information about what features are going to make this launch release of the new sim, and what may come later. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest information that we have about the simulator and the development, so let's jump into the video. There were many features planned for the development of the current sim, and the Microsoft team always mentioned from the get-go that this new Flight Simulator franchise and them were around here to stay for at least 10 years. Many, like myself, thought they would keep updating the current sim, but the Microsoft team had some other ideas in mind. That being said, the features planned for development that we just mentioned before seem to keep getting delayed and delayed. What we didn't know is that the Microsoft team were planning for the next simulator, as the current sim in their minds had reached its maximum potential, and the sim needs some new infrastructure and a rewrite of the code to really bring the next generation of Microsoft Flight Simulator to the next level. What we do know from the announcement trailer back in June is that the sim will include a bunch of new features from release, such as seasons, some sort of career mode or mission modes, a bunch of new aircraft. Some have been showcased in the trailer, but there's still more to be showcased in the sim as the release becomes closer. New and improved flight model, new texture technology which allows fabric to be more lifelike in the sim, so we can see things like hot air balloons, new and improved weather engines with increased realism when it comes to storms, fires, some cyclones and smoke and etc. As well as a rewritten sim architecture and base code which will boost the sim's performance to allow this new tech to take place. The team has also mentioned that most of the third-party products that are sold on the in-sim marketplace will work with the new version of the sim. This is not really a feature as such, but it's something worth mentioning as many simmers have invested a large amount in the franchise with their favorite third-party products. The Microsoft team recently mentioned in the last previous development livestream that they will be updating the development roadmaps or the active development roadmaps on a more frequent rate. This is great news as we see a bit of an insight into what features will make the new sim for when it comes to release and what development will come at a later date with some sim updates. That being said, at this stage the sim is to be released sometime in 2024. I would have to imagine that Microsoft would know by now what core features and improvements will be released with Microsoft Flight Simulator on the launch. A big thank you to ProDesims for sponsoring this YouTube video. Their products enhance your current flight simulator hardware by turning your flight controls into something closer to the real thing. The team makes different add-ons for flight controls such as Honeycomb, SciTech and Velocity over a variety of different aircraft, including Boeing, BAE, Cessna Citation, VisionJet, TBM, just to mention a few. The team has been staying up with all the latest releases when it comes to aircraft and have new additions to the fleet, such as the E-Jet series throttles, the new Fokker F-28 throttles, and also ATR 42 and 72 throttle sets. The current add-on I'm using at the moment is the ProDesims new dual-action Boeing 737 add-on for the Honeycomb Bravo, which features a detent flap and speed brakes. This really improves the immersion and realism of my flights. For Oz Flight Sim viewers, you can use this code AUSFS on checkout for a 15% discount on all ProDesim products. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can check out their page, and a big thank you to our friends over at ProDesims for sponsoring this video. Taking a look at the last development wish list and following the same principles that we've seen with the 2020 updates, for anything that is slated with a 2024 plus, we're presuming that these features will be in development and introduced to the sim at a later date, and they won't be available for release. Any features that are slated 2024 will be ready for the release candidate launch of the sim. What we do know at launch, seasons we know will make the new sim. It's been showcased in the original announcement trailer and it's scheduled for the release launch. Aircraft specific profiles is another one which has been sorted after feature that hasn't made the current sim, will be available for launch in 2024. This feature will allow you to set the control profiles and more for each aircraft instead of having a single setup for all aircraft, making the sim more realistic by mimicking what happens in the real world. Each aircraft in the real world is different to the next aircraft. Doors opening in the default aircraft will make it into the new sim. Many simmers believe this should have been implemented from day one when it comes to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, but it has slipped back all the way to the new sim. We don't know if the team will go back and fix this when it comes to the 2020 fleet of aircraft, or is this just going to be the new default fleet we see with the new release of the 2024 sim. Access to the flight planner without leaving a flight would be a great quality of life addition to the sim. The web-friendly list when it comes to the development roadmap has this as additional for the release of the sim, while the wish list has a 2024 plus update for now. So we're just going to include this as a feature that is going to be set for the release. There will be more and other features making the launch when it comes to the simulator. These ones were just mentioned when it comes to features that simmers have voted for in the wish list, and it's the only information we have to go on apart from the teaser trailer and also the talk that was given at FS Expo. If you are enjoying the video, please bosh that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't. We plan to follow the development of the new flight sim up to and after its release, just like we have with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So if you'd like to start with the latest, subscribe to see more videos. Moving over to the features that have been slated for development as a release after the sim has released when it comes to the feedback wish list. Share multiplayer or cockpit multiplayer. This was scheduled for a long time as a feature for 2020 that basically has been pushed back to 2024, but not at launch. For PC simmers now, you can actually use third-party software that actually does this while leaving our Xbox simmer family without an option to do shared cockpit experience at the moment. Many complex aircraft require more than one pilot in the real world, so this would be a great addition to the base sim, but it's going to come at a later date. Power lines, antennas, masts, gondolas, and cable cars. Basically, anything that is man-made that stems up for the ground will not make the base sim on release. And this has been scheduled for a future release later on. I'm a little bit surprised for this one, as the original trailer shows power lines being installed by a helicopter. Again, as we mentioned it with the multiplayer, you could do this kind of stuff already with a third-party freeware ready for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. For PC users only. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check out a video that we featured when it comes to this sort of stuff, but it's going to come at a later date when it comes to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The Northern Lights is a feature that's been talked about for a long time, and again, this was planned to release sometime with an update for 2020. Originally, it was displayed for launch when it comes to a release of 2024, and it appears it's also slipped back as a post-update sometime in the future after the sim has released. One thing we don't know is the timeline when it comes to these post-launch features, the expected timeline of when we may see them implemented in the sim, or if they will actually make the sim at all. Going off previous history, a lot of these were originally planned for an update sometime for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, but as I mentioned before, the Microsoft team had mentioned that the sim had reached its limit and a new sim would be needed with new architect, which was needed to be able to add these new features and realism and performance to make Microsoft Flight Simulator go to that next level. I'm sure that the end of 2023 coming into the holiday period and the start of 2024, we will start seeing a lot more information when it comes to the development of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We'll keep following the development updates of the new sim in future videos, so we would love to hear you in the comments below of what feature you would love to see in the next sim, or which feature we have mentioned in this video you would love to see as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 video.